Hello and welcome to Needing a Meeting. My name is Carol, and I need to put my earbuds in. And besides that, I will be your host today. Hi, Henny. I'm so happy to see you. Uh, I wonder, like, if you start seeing, like, the slightest smidge of improvement with mental health meds, if it's possible to kind of have a good day and then take a step back, and then if there's yeah, anyway, cause and I wonder if consistent bedtimes has anything to do with how mental health meds work. Hello, Sandy, Wendy. Hi, Jen. It's so good to see you guys. Thank you for being here. So, yeah, those are just some of the things I've been thinking about. Another thing I've been thinking about, and it's probably gonna be a controversial topic, but do you know what's missing from the woke movement?
Hmm.
Kindness.
Oh, yes.
Kindness. How do you expect to get anywhere with anything when it comes to humanity being unkind
Yeah.
and ungracious and ungenerous?
Yeah.
Just just something I've been kind of thinking about, like, you know, it seems like it's more about remaining offended as it is to finding a solution.
Yeah. That was, uh, yeah, it kind of goes back to one of the quotes I found by, not C. Everett Koop. Oh, I can't remember his name. Big cult guy. He was talking about how what was the quote? It was, I think I wrote it down even. Well, um, the thought terminating cliches. That is one of the things that they tend to use, and that was way back in the '80s. That guy came up with
Yes.
that. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, I'm offended. Therefore, like, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a good answer.
Yeah. Platitudes. Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. So, yeah, I've been thinking about some stuff, and then, OJ died, and I
Hmm.
put up pictures of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman on my
Yeah.
social media,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Let's talk about them.
Yeah.
Let's talk about them. He
Yeah.
was he was so young, and she was too. She was what, in her 30s?
Yes. Yeah. That that was. It's interesting. It was something. There's a lot that you can learn by that case. There's on all aspects, but one of the best examples of when you're speaking to somebody when they're not being completely honest, what happens is your brain subconsciously will think of one thing while you're saying something else. And
Right.
because there's one, it's really famous in in body language circles. He says, "I didn't do it. I couldn't have done it." Whereas normally what happens is, "I didn't do it. I couldn't have done it." Your hands will hit the desk, but he does. "I couldn't do it. His mistimed
Ah,
illustrators, and it's
okay.
famous. It's absolutely
Wow.
famous, and yeah, the things, and it's really sad in his case because he was really had an accomplished career,
I know it.
and
And he just turns out to be a thug.
yeah, yeah, on so many levels. I mean, you start finding out all this stuff, and yeah, and the guy could laugh at himself and this and that, but it was all just an act.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
She, Nicole Brown Simpson, I listened to her sister do an interview one time, and she told her sister, "He's gonna kill me, and he's gonna get away with it."
Yeah. Yeah, there was, yeah, that one's also, that's another famous quote. Um, Probably shouldn't have root mean square up there at the time. There. But yeah, that was a very, the way that whole thing turned out and his
Yeah.
behavior, especially afterwards. So that tells you this is what this guy is like. And we know that as you get older, you have established your what they call neuroplasticity, meaning your behavior is less likely to change. Okay. Your behavior is less likely to change. I forgot about that. It is true. It's a true statement. I de-
Amazing.
I defy anybody to change my mind on that.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
If you look at him, I mean, his earlier pictures, the he just looked a lot older, and he's getting younger as time progresses. So yeah, you you never see the two in the same place. Coincidence? No, we like to call that established scientific fact. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hello, Rip Curl. I'm trying to type it out, but I'll just say it instead. Talk about guilty LAPD. They just wouldn't protect her.
mm,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. In that situation, I don't know. I mean, they did what they did while she was alive,
yeah,
but I don't know that they could have prevented that from happening, other than just putting him in jail. And in those days, they
yeah.
weren't put in jail for domestic abuse.
No, yeah, they typically weren't. Um, yeah, the whole thing was just rotten from start to finish.
Start to finish.
Yeah, and of course, LAPD got a really bad name from that case as well. Just
Hmm.
the stupidity of it, and people are more the prosecutor's more concerned with her hairstyle than the case, and of course, Judge Ito demanding the camera be on him. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
the whole thing is
Yeah.
a joke.
Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad he was the judge, because he could have, there could have been a mistrial declared,
Yeah,
and that could have been the difference.
hmm
Depends
yeah,
on your bank account and address. Yeah. That behavior is known as coercive control. It happens often in cults and also happens in domestic violence. It could be 2 people or 100,
mm.
or
Well,
even 1,000.
very good point.
Yeah, excellent point. Yeah, yeah. My heart has always hurt for the Goldmans and for
Mm.
Nicole, you know.
Yeah, and it was the whole thing. I mean, it wasn't quick. It was the whole everything about it was just.
Yeah.
And
They
what
did
got
not want Go ahead.
what got me about it is he knew he was guilty. He was admitting that he was guilty, and they just
More or
gave him so
less.
much time that he was able to start putting a story together. And that was another case where people who believe a certain thing, they're going to believe a certain thing, and truth be damned.
Yeah. The defense team objected to everything the prosecution tried to bring in. Yeah, I mean, that's their job, but
You know,
yeah, I mean, because there was evidence, and even though the glove didn't fit, it had been sitting in liquid.
yeah,
Leather shrinks in liquid, you
yeah,
know?
and just the whole thing about his arthritis medication and all that. And,
Yeah, his hands were swollen from that, more than likely. That case was so sad. It was, Shannon. Imagine the damage to his kids. I cannot even imagine
mm, yeah,
what they have gone through all these years.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, the best they can
How do you deal with that as a kid?
the best they can expect to the best shape they can expect to come out of this is be a joke at a joke at parties. That's the best they can expect after something
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and the latex glove under it too. Not to mention OJ was sitting in jail eating hamburgers for a year before he put those gloves on again.
that.
Yep.
Yep, get that information up.
Hello, how are you, Christy?
Hey. Oh, I'm good. I almost got into a fight at the Walmart.
Oh, all right.
Really
Okay.
should not be allowed to go to Walmart. I mean, I really shouldn't, or I should go with bail money. This lady, so in this particular Walmart, there's a lane to turn into Walmart and a lane to turn out. And there's no other lanes. And there's no signage, there's no anything. So I needed to go left. And this lady behind me just is laying on her horn for like a minute and a half. So I get out of my car. All right, I know it's not the smartest thing in the world to do in Baltimore. Like, I really get it. But I get out of my car and she rolls up her window. So I go over and I'm like, roll down your window. So she rolls down her window and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm like, what am I missing that is causing you to lay on your horn at me for a minute and a half? Because first of all, I didn't even know you were honking at me. So what am I missing? And she's like, it's a right turn only lane. And everybody like in the cars behind us had their windows down. Like one person had their phone out of the window. So like, I don't know, I might end up somewhere. I might not, I don't know. But so I looked at her and I said, okay. I said, do you see my out of state plate? And she goes, yeah. And I'm like, okay, so we know I'm not from here. And I'm like, where is the signage that says it's a right turn only lane? It's not on the pavement. There's no sign on the stoplight. There's no sign here. So what am I missing that tells me this is a right turn only lane? And she's like, well, there isn't anything. And I said, okay, well, how am I supposed to know that? And she's like, well, you've got your GPS on, don't you? And I said, my GPS doesn't tell me it's a right turn only lane. And I said, the point is, I said, you could have tapped your horn and stuck your finger out and gone like this. And I promise I'm smart enough, I would have known to have turned. And I said, but furthermore, I said, you don't know me and you don't know what I have going on. And I said, how do you know that I'm not here for a funeral? How do you know that I'm not here because I have to say my final goodbyes? You don't know who's in front of you. That person could have lost a child. They could have gotten fired. They could have just gotten served divorce papers. They could be dealing with addictions or mental health issues. And I'm like, how is your behavior helpful to society at all? How did anything that you do get you the result that you wanted? Because it didn't get me to turn, it got me to get out of my car. And you don't know who I am. How do you know I didn't have a gun and I wouldn't just pew, pew, pew you right through the windshield? You don't know this. And I'm like, so why don't you just work on being a little better human next time? I'm like, where are you in such a hurry to get to? And she's like, well, I'm not in a hurry. And I'm like, okay, well, so then nothing that you did was beneficial. I'm like, be decent. I go, the problem in the world is not Trump or Biden or the right or left or straight or whatever else. It is people like you. You're the problem. You are the problem because you're not taking into consideration anyone else's feelings, anyone else's thoughts, what anyone is going on. You are in your own little world, only concerned about what you're concerned about. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I'm getting back in my car and I'm turning and I'm going freaking 12 miles an hour down the road and you will follow me because I promise you I'm going to be watching in my rearview mirror. And if you put your blinker on, I'm putting my blinker on. And I did. Now, I only went 12 miles an hour down the
Oh
road
no.
until I got to like the first street, and then I turned around. I know it's not smart. I know. And I'm probably not going to tell Michael because he's like, "Oh my God, you could have gotten murdered." I get it. But I was so mad. I was so mad. I was just like, why? Why are people this way? So now I need to find somewhere else to go to buy my laundry detergent and everything because I'm pretty like I probably should never go back to. But it just
Was it the same
infuriated me.
Walmart where you ran into the lady about the bag?
Yes, it was. And it's right next to Sprouts, and that's why I go to it. I don't know. You guys, I need to find somewhere else. I really do. But it just made me mad. And here's the thing. Like, today I was to the point where I could not handle bad behavior. Oh, by the way, here, this is what I looked like when I walked up to her. So I walked up looking like this with the glasses on and everything. I'm like, excuse me.
You're Liv Tyler.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I
man.
mean, it really made me mad because I think just everything in the world that's going on, like, how hard is it to be nice? Now, again, I understand. I wasn't helpful. It wasn't smart. I could have gotten ran over, stabbed, shot, mugged, drug off into the bushes. I get it. But Lord, like, just act like somebody. I really just wanted to say it. But yeah, Karen's in the well, you know what though? I mean, I kind of was a Karen in the Walmart parking lot too. We were both Karens. Like I could have been, I probably should have stayed in my car and just turned. But yeah, she's probably raving
Well,
about me.
on the upside, about the right turn thing.
Oh, yeah. So I just need to go out the other way. Like it really, I'm serious. It wouldn't have been, but there was no. And when I asked, I was genuine. Like, where does it say this? And there's no median to like make it so you could only turn right. You know how sometimes when there's only two lanes and you can only go one way, they'll put like a concrete thing there.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's not even that. So how is somebody to know? Like, you know,
Well,
I,
I honestly would start to think, is she even right on that, or does she just have it in her brain?
well, everybody after me turned right. So I don't
Oh,
know if it's
okay.
because they heard that or they're like, damn, we better turn right. But I mean, it very well could be. It very well could be, but there was no sign. It would be one thing if she was like, there's a sign right there. I would be like, apologies, I'm sorry, I'm going back to my car now. Have a good day. I really would have. But there was nothing, and well, doesn't your GPS? I don't know. Does your GPS tell you it's a one-way street? Mine doesn't. Maybe yours does. Mine doesn't. So that was the drama for today. I
So
don't
you're a
know.
grown
If I
ass woman, but I'll still go ahead and read the comments. How did you know she didn't have a weapon? Because you are in Baltimore, and Henny says, unfortunately, Christy, there are many inconsiderate, selfish people. Please be safe. Don't exit the safety of your car. Crazy really is out there.
I
Oh,
know. And you know what? It was one of the have you ever just been so mad that you're just like, no,
That's not going to
no.
stand. Yeah.
That's where I was. And
Yeah.
again, like I
I
said,
get it.
I know it was not my most shining moment. So I really don't want you guys to I mean, my habit rate, but I had cheese in the back of my car. I mean, I could have been like, hold it right there. I gotta go get some Gouda. Hold on. I mean, I know it wasn't smart, but in that moment, I totally let my emotions get the best of me. I clearly let my wise mind exit stage right. And I was like, no.
I think maybe you should keep cheese handy in the car. Maybe get a little refrigerator, and that way you can huck
Oh, that
cheese.
was a swab of cheese. I mean, wasn't brilliant, but I was so angry. I mean, I was just so angry. Like, and I think it's because everybody around here honks at you. Go on. And I was just tired of getting honked at. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I do kind of follow the rules of the road,
Hmm.
you know. I
I,
mean,
I yeah, I feel your pain on that.
you
It
know,
can
Yeah.
get very taxing
Yeah,
after
no,
a
I get it. I get why you would do that. And,
yeah.
that you throw caution to the wind to take that risk. I get it. I've
And
been tempted to do that many a time.
here's the thing. It was in the middle of broad daylight. The parking lot was full. There was people going both directions, people turning in. So don't do that. Don't do what I did. But I mean, like my inner like little Irish person was like, no. It just came out, you know. Like I turned into what is that thing? Gollum? Precious? That's what I turned into. I was like, ah. Like, common sense left the room. It just left. Just
you
left
know,
on left.
Amazing.
you know,
Don't be like Christy, you know.
one thing I like about this whole thing, I have no life. So knowing you two, it's like you give me a life. So thank you for that.
You can live on the edge with me. You know, we'll start to bail Christy out fund. Christy's stupidity. No, not really. Hey, stop. Road rage. I mean, yeah, I guess it really was. Just like, yeah, just hobbit rage, road rage.
Is your,
Angry hobbit preaches tolerance at Baltimore.
is your is your hair redder than usual today, or is it just because of?
It's probably being brought out because of my like cool little scarf. Like I think it's
That's a
bringing out the highlights in it a little bit.
nice.
Yeah, I got this in Alaska. It's like hand painted and dyed, and I love it. And now my hair is finally long enough I can kind of do something with it. But yeah, yeah. Crystal, hello. Glad to see you there. I'm laughing so hard I peed. Hey, that's my goal. I want people to laugh so hard they pee a little.
Oh my goodness.
OJ or something when I came on.
Yeah, we were just talking about that case.
Really crummy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Wait, and
Yeah.
honestly,
Yeah.
who
Unbelievable.
now I'm not being judgy, but I remember because so it happened in 95, so I was 19, and I just remember seeing him drive really slow, and I remember thinking, I've driven faster down dirt roads. Like that was the thing I remember. It's like he's driving so slow. But that and then the whole like if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Like I remember that. And I remember what a big deal it was that cameras were allowed in to the courtroom.
Yeah.
And I just remember thinking the whole thing was slimy. And I didn't grow up knowing him. Like we didn't watch sports.
Mm.
So I really didn't know who he was. Like I had not even seen any of the movies. I mean, I knew the name, but that was about it. So it wasn't like some great idol of mine fell like for a lot of people. But
Worst high-speed chase ever.
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
joke.
yeah.
Yeah.
It,
Before that,
it,
I was talking about something I was thinking about was that what's missing from the woke movement is kindness.
mm-hmm.
It's
You
never,
know,
there's never been an olive branch extended in it.
mm-mm,
No, no mercy of any kind,
mm-hmm.
and the whole movement is about being and staying offended, period. Nothing
Yeah.
else matters. Change doesn't
No,
matter, because if it did, they would not, they would be working on it, but instead they just want to stay offended. I say
well, and
I tried, when woke first came out, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to listen. It doesn't cost anything. It's not going to hurt me to listen. And I'm going to listen earnestly with an open
right,
heart and an open mind, and I'm going to search my heart and see if
mm-hmm,
I'm part of the problem here.
Right.
But it
Right.
turned out to be such gaslighting.
Mhm.
It's so tricky. Um,
The things that instigated it were real and were
yeah.
horrific, just
Right. Right.
unjust. But the response was not helpful.
Mm.
No, and and I think I can kind of see, like, there's so people are, I think our willingness to have a conversation and really hear somebody who has a different point of view than us
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
has left. Like the ability to listen to somebody. I remember
Yeah.
I was still in the church, and one of my dad's friends, they were Mormon, and he was like a Mormon preacher, like a bishop or something like that. And I wasn't going to become a Mormon, and he wasn't going to not be Mormon, but I wanted to understand it. So I went to his house one day and I sat down and I said, "Look, I'm not going to convert you. You're not going to convert me, but I want to understand what you believe. Why? Like, I'm not trying to be awful. I want to understand." Now, I didn't understand any more when I left than when I sat down. I was way more confused. And I'm not bagging on that religion, but I'm saying the ability to have those conversations has gone. And it seems
Yeah.
like everybody, and I'm not talking about anybody here or in the chat, but it seems like a lot of
And
people have victim mentalities. They
yeah,
feel like they're owed, and that's
and I want
hard.
the world to be better is the sad part. I
Yes,
want us to be better. I want
Mm.
us
I
to
do
be better
too. I
with
do
all of
too.
my heart,
Mhm. Yeah.
And that, Christy, is why you're so good at interviewing. You seek first to understand, then to be understood. I mean, it's
Yeah.
quoted so much as a platitude, but yeah, there's something to it.
Well, that and I'm nosy.
That's good
Got a
too.
few things going for me. I want to understand.
And the sad thing about that a Rolling Stone is it just didn't last.
Yeah.
If it was present at all, it didn't last, but half a
Mhm.
second, a wisp. It was a wisp,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
like a lot
It's
of
so
movements have been
disappointing.
hijacked. Yeah.
Mhm.
Such an opportunity, has been missed and keeps being missed.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hi, Henny. Yes.
Yes, we
Hi.
can.
Hey. Hi, Christy. You look so pretty. Hey,
Yes, you
Ben.
do.
Hey.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I just wanted to put my 2 cents in if I could,
Yeah,
Yeah.
please.
because I watched that trial
Yeah.
and I noticed something that most people did not notice. And maybe that's because being someone who was abused, maybe that's why I was able to notice it right away.
Yeah.
But they had put pictures of Nicole and Ron up. No, it was just Nicole during the trial. And I looked at her and she had a black eye. And I remember seeing her and thinking, oh my God, does nobody see it? Does nobody see? And it wasn't the black eye as
How
much as it
devastating.
was her age. She was a child.
Yeah.
And he had already
Yeah.
been a married man with
Yeah.
children of his own.
Yep.
And he was already grooming and beating another child before he married her.
Mhm.
And to me, it was nobody even noticed that it was a child with a black eye. It was just like, oh, it's Nicole with a black eye. And I'm like, does nobody see this? Am I really the only one that
Sees
sees a
how
child
young.
there?
Yeah. Yeah. She's not but a few
Yes.
years older than me, you know?
No, but
Something like
Carol,
6
what I'm
years
saying
older.
is, no, Carol, what I'm saying is at the time, right, when they were showing the pictures of her,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
not when she was married to him. It was when she was a child and he was abused. She had a black eye from dating No
Wow.
one stepped in. Her parents didn't say, no, this is not, you're not dating a man 20
Yeah.
years older than you. You're not out of high school yet. I mean,
She was in high school?
I think Carol, if she was a day over 16, I'd bet my life. Okay. She was not.
Wow.
She was not. And I saw this. Nobody else saw it. Nobody else saw it. I thought to myself, okay, so grooming happened in childhood. Everyone was so taken and smitten with who he was that it was like what was happening
Yes.
was ignored. So,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
of
She
course,
was
her path was
what
to
I noticed about was how devastated she looked. Sorry.
what you noticed was what, Carol?
Are you there? How
Yes.
devastated she
What did you
looked.
say?
Just
Yes.
completely obliterated and devastated.
I just the
Anyway,
whole
I'm sorry
picture
I
of her
interrupted.
as it. No, it's okay. It's okay.
I know.
Just that whole picture showed me the way that coercive control begins. It's grooming of a child and taking total control of that person as they grow, because you're the one in control. They're not anymore. They
That's
never were.
right. They never were.
Well,
And
and you
that's
know what?
what bothered me. Yes,
Yeah.
Chrissy.
Well, you know what's sad is people with money, and it doesn't matter if it's men or women, but especially men with money and
Yes.
power can
Yes.
really make a lot of things go away. And I love men, so
Yeah.
I'm not bagging on men or rich men or anything like that. But you just it tends to be overlooked more. Like there's more excuses made, and I
Yeah.
think that's
Turning a
sad.
blind eye. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
Because of
I
who he
think that's
is.
sad. And this was a very public thing, but break it down and bring it down to another level. If a woman is married to a rich and powerful man and she's getting abused, the same things could be happening to her, and nobody wants to say anything because of who it is. It's like that. I really like this song for a lot of reasons, but I think it's a Carrie Underwood song that's like she put something in his Tennessee whiskey that they would never find, and basically now he's dead. I don't advocate that, by the way, don't do that. But this song, it's the same thing again. It's a rich guy and a woman who's trying to figure something out, and I think it happens way more. That was just a very big platform to see it on. And I think nobody now again, you guys, I was 19 years old. I was pregnant. And so and it was one of the worst years that my family had experienced for a lot of different reasons. So I wasn't as into it as I probably would be now. But
Yeah.
just the allowances that were given because of who he
Who he was.
Yep.
was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I watched something, and I was trying to remember what it was. I can't remember if it was like a Kardashian thing or something. I don't really watch the Kardashians very often, but they were talking about how the dad, because he was good friends with them, and he was like halfway through the trial when he realized that it probably really wasn't what he thought it was, but he couldn't leave because that would look bad, and so he stayed there, and I thought, wow, how sad is that? Like it's sad on so many levels to me because um people lost a daughter and a friend, and then there was a friendship that
Yes.
was risked because now you realize my
Yes.
friend could and did do this,
Yeah.
and it's just, I mean, of course I'm devastated for Nicole and Ron. Um, and I guess there's been a lot of celebration that he's gone online, is what I heard. I was listening to Popcorn Planet talk about it. And they're like, there's a lot of people who are really happy that he's gone.
I'm not
That's
sorry.
that's
It's like I'm not sorry to see him go. I'll admit it.
No, neither am I. I'm sorry for his children. I'm
I
sorry
am too.
for the parents of Ron Goldman. I'm
I
sorry
am
for
too.
everyone, because you
Everybody
know it's a
affected.
ripple effect. We talk about ripple effects,
Yes, we
and
do.
this continues on. And I just wanted to mention, because I saw something that a Rolling Stone had mentioned. Hi, by the way, and hi everybody in the chat. Um, that she noticed that Diddy was doing, whatever, the same thing, and with his children. Now, let me explain something to you. And this also it's very horrific to hear, but it's more likely than not that he groomed his own children. Where do you think they got that behavior from? Where did they learn that behavior from? You understand? So it's like, it's a horrible thing, but I mean, their mother is dead, Diddy's children, their mother is dead. And
Yeah.
they are acting, in my opinion, the way they were treated. And the way
Yeah.
that they treat other people is the way that they feel that they're entitled to feel that way. And they were taught that way.
Right. Yeah.
It's a combination. I was looking that up with mental illness. If it was genetic, if there was any component of mental illness that was genetic, and there is. And they also said that environment, if you come from a genetic background with mental illness, and then the environment that you're living in perpetrates that mental illness in forms of neglect or abuse, then of course you're going to be mentally ill.
Right. You guys,
This
Michael's
is
here. I'm going to hop off to go eat. I will see you all tomorrow. Sorry that it's so short.
That's okay. It was great seeing you, Christy.
Good seeing
Good
you.
to
Really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh,
I think I think mental illness really needs to be looked at, and people really, there was a saying that it takes a village, and it does take a village. It takes a village to protect the people that cannot protect themselves, and especially the young.
yeah.
And the village needs to step up and take care of those children
Yes.
and not allow this
Yeah.
to continue. Really, because look what happens. What's the
Yeah.
outcome? This is the
Yeah.
outcome. We live in a world that's totally upside down.
Mm-hmm. We
Really.
do.
And we do. We really do.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the best I can to try to help in any way, however I can. Um, and that's what I had to say.
Right on. It does.
I hope
It
for the best, and you got to make change also. I wasn't born
Yeah.
into the best. We all know that. But through therapy and everything, I did not, I didn't know what to do when I had my son. I didn't. And I was really uptight about it. And I had an epiphany. And at that moment, it was my inner self. And my inner self said, you know what not to do.
Yeah.
So I said, oh, well, I guess that makes me half to knowing what to do. And
Yeah.
actually, right. Everything that I was taught, I did not do. And my son turned out to be a fine young man, whom I'm very proud of.
Right
And,
on. I love that.
really, it took a lot, though. I'm not going to say it didn't. And there's still
Yeah.
times when I'm suffering and I have my own issues, but I try not to put that outwardly. I try to, really work on myself, and through therapy and medication and whatever else, I've done the best I could. But I did not want to perpetrate that kind of a lifestyle or parenting, if you
Mm-hmm.
would even call it that,
Right.
onto someone else that didn't deserve it. They deserve
That's
to have
right.
a good life.
Yes. A good
However that
childhood. Yeah.
Yes, however that turned out, whether it was
Mm-hmm.
that I were to have given him up, whether it was that I was to hear that voice and know that I had to do the opposite of everything,
Yes.
it's not, life is not easy, but we
No.
do the best we can. I'm glad we have each other also.
I am too, Henny. Yeah,
really
we do. We do most people are doing the best they can.
Yeah.
And I don't know what
Yes.
to say about the other rest.
I don't
That
know
aren't.
about them either. I don't know about them either. Ben, it's good to see you.
Good to see you. Can you?
Well, it's good. Yes, go ahead.
I was going to ask if you could do me a favor. I don't mean to belittle anything, but can you say something with your accent? Say hello to my little friend.
Ah,
Oh,
ah.
oh wow. Anywho,
Ben, maybe you could think of something else, okay?
I just love the way you talk. It just
Oh, well, I love to listen to you, and also being that we're on, I think you had mentioned a while ago, if I'm not mistaken, that you had worked alongside Chase, Mr. Chase Hughes, I believe his name is.
mhm,
Did
yeah,
you know that? Did you know that he's having some problems?
yeah,
Men, okay, yeah. I read about that today. I read what he wrote, so I
yeah,
don't feel like intruding in any way. He was honest enough
yeah,
to explain, and I'm just sorry because I really dig him, and
yeah,
I wanted to let you know that I was sorry.
yeah. He's a really
He's a great guy. Oh yeah,
he is and the thing that gets me about it is talking to him in person. I expected him to be I don't know what I mean because he's got a successful business. He's not poor by any stretch of the imagination. He's getting into AI. He's doing all this stuff for the military, and he's got
yes,
all kinds of income. But I sat and talked to him, and it amazed me how much he went out of his way to make sure I felt comfortable. And he introduced me to his family, and we're just doing a Zoom meeting, him and I, and yeah, he took time to introduce his kids, and they said some things to me and everything else, and it was just really struck me what a nice guy he is.
yeah. He comes off that way. I like him very much. Maybe you could just give some information about who he is and what you know.
Um,
Because it's a good. He's in a good show to watch on YouTube. It's and he's a nice gentleman. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
just wish him the best.
yeah. And I was amazed at how nice they all are. I mean,
Yeah.
even what's the guy, Greg, because
Yes.
everybody keeps talking about Greg has resting Hartley face because he's always. But talking to him, he was one of the most patient people I've talked to in a long time. He's stepping me through how to do some body language, things like that that I just wasn't getting. It just amazed me how patient he was with me. And
Yeah.
Wow.
yeah, they're all
Ca-
good people.
yeah, they are. Carol, it's a group of 4 men on YouTube, and
Okay.
they're highly educated, and they do body language like
Oh,
they
body language
yeah,
panel.
Behavior panel.
Okay.
yes. And
Okay. Okay.
okay, and Chase Hughes, he's the one. He kind of talks very slow, and I like him very much. He's very soft spoken,
Okay.
and yeah, he had gone on YouTube today to say that he was experiencing some frontal lobe
Ooh,
memory loss and stuff like that, and so
wow.
he was explaining that. Yeah, and yeah, it was hard to hear because it's sort of like a Bruce Willis. Well, it's not that he hasn't reached that to
Hmm.
that extreme, but as far from what I gather, is that correct, Ben? That he's also having like that same sort of
His is they thought it might be what do you call it? Sclerosis, and he
yeah,
has seizures, and of course
yeah,
seizures can get to your head. I don't know. For whatever reason, I thought it was a TBI that caused a lot of it, which I think is why
Okay.
he couldn't be an operator in the Navy anymore, and the
mm,
reason why he had to get out of that. Of course, I could be wrong, but I thought it was something like that because he mentioned
yeah.
it to us a while back, but it wasn't
Okay.
generally known.
I think probably. it's probably more noticeable now as he's aging. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's how stuff like that usually progresses.
Okay.
But yeah, he's actually was diagnosed with it a long time ago, and he keeps his brain as the neuroplasticity is the term that he used. He tries to keep it, as malleable as possible. So I think that that's probably really helped him, because he was another one where he wasn't supposed to be in control of his faculties as well as he is now. It's one of these things where, you're going to be blabbering idiocy, in 5 years. And of course, here we are, like, 15 or so, and he's still doing, fairly well. But
Oh yes, yes. Well, I just hope the best for him,
Yeah.
and I wanted to,
yeah,
give you hugs, and I'll give you this, Ben. I'm gonna leave now, but it was nice talking to you, and I hope we have
Good
coffee
talking to you
soon.
too.
coffee. Love that.
Henny, Shannon was wanting to know where your accent
Okay.
is from. I know it's New York City, but
Yes, it's actually Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. That's where I grew up, where Leah Remini is from.
Mm.
Somebody had said we have a lot of the same accent, and we actually lived a couple of blocks from each other, though
wow.
I'm quite a few years older than Leah.
That,
But yeah, there's actually a bakery, and I'm sure she remembers it. It's called, well, it's funny, everybody says it differently. It's spelled like her last name, which is Remini, but it was called Ramini's Bakery.
Oh wow.
So a lot of us Bensonhurst people will call her Leah Ramini. But yes, so I hope I answered your question. I hope everybody's doing well.
Shannon says she
And
lived in Queens in a different, and it's a different accent.
oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't know. I guess New York, Bensonhurst. We have that. Even the Bronx, which is where I live currently,
Okay.
for many years. We all have that New York twang to us.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. I love it.
Thank you. I love
Yeah.
you all. I'm going back to the chat.
Okay.
And okay, have a good day and hang in there, y'all.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
when I was in, when I put myself in, what do you call it? A what's the term? It's a dual diagnosis center, but they mainly do drug detox, stuff like that. One of
Okay.
my best friend in there was from Brooklyn. He's a cameraman for the garden. I can't remember the name. He always called it the garden. Um, Madison Square Garden.
Oh, okay.
But he had the same accent. I used to get such a kick out of listening to him.
I've only been to New York City one time, and it was an 8-hour layover on a flight that I was taking. And we explored a little bit of the city. We went to Times Square. That's about it. And we went on the subway, and we did see the Statue of Liberty. That was pretty exciting.
Times Square would be interesting to see.
It was. I expected more because you hear so much about it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was only there an hour or two, so I didn't know where to go or what we were supposed to be seeing or any of that.
Just a question. Does any of the OJ stuff bring out anything for you?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, it's kind of a combined thing with the thinking about the woke thing. I was writing in my journal about how when I was doing that soul searching to see am I part of the problem, ultimately what I came to is if I hated somebody because of the way they looked,
Mm,
because of the color of their skin, or because of how they identify gender wise or sexual orientation wise. Wouldn't I know?
mm.
Wouldn't I know if I hated somebody based on that? And I
Yep.
decided, you know what? Yes, I would. And
Yeah.
and I have my brother to thank for that,
Mm,
because I did not know what hatred was until he did what he did to me.
mm.
And then
Oh,
I hated him with every fiber of my being.
yeah.
And I was just like, you know what? Thank you, brother, because
Yeah.
I know what hate is.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and I know I don't harbor it for anybody but you.
Oh, and then that was one of the interesting things I heard Dr. K talk about this. He's healthy gamer on YouTube. Very smart guy, but he's a trauma. He mainly deals with trauma therapy. I can't remember what his doctor's in. I think it's psychiatry, but he was talking about it's a very interesting. Something you don't hear often. He says you can hold on to hate. You can if
Yeah.
you want to, and it's not destroying your life. You know what?
Hmm.
Thumbs up to you. You can
You know
hold on
what?
to
For
it.
a long time, it just was it just felt good to let myself give
Yeah,
myself the permission to
yeah,
to say it. I mean, all the abuse that I took from him as a kid,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
and
and
that,
all
yeah,
the
now,
gaslighting, all the mm,
yeah, and that was the thing is he was saying that, and it actually makes sense. Now it's not necessarily big in Christianity or several other religions, but yeah, he was talking about how what you have that right. You do have that right to feel hatred, and he was the thing where he was saying that you have to that to that this person took time from you, and you know what, you can
yeah,
hold on to that, and
yeah,
because you had something taken from you, and
yeah.
it's not
I had
important.
more than time.
Yeah.
My son had just moved in with me. He had been there exactly 1 month to
Yeah.
the day when that happened,
Mhm,
and we were drawing so close.
mhm,
And when that happened to me, I completely withdrew, and I had no power to stop it.
mm, yeah.
And I will never get that time back.
Yeah. Yeah, and he would talk about how you can move on but yet still never forgive somebody, and he said if you don't feel
Yeah,
like it, he was thinking about
yeah,
moving on is not letting this person ruin your life.
right.
And as far as I'm not going to act this way towards other people, but he said, you know what, if you want to revisit that, because yeah, this person took something from you, and it's like that's really interesting because yeah, we're so often in our society where no, you can't do this, and if you can't, you really can't work through it. Um,
Yeah. How can you, without just being completely honest?
yeah,
You can't recover from anything
mm,
without brutal honesty.
yeah,
I am 100% convinced it's not possible to
mhm,
recover from anything,
yeah,
you
oh,
know, any malady of the soul, any addiction, you know,
yeah, not
any abusive behavior, you know.
yeah, yeah, not. I had to realize is that I still harbor some. I wouldn't call it hatred, but I guess people constantly say you need to forgive. Well, forgiveness is not letting it do damage to you, but you can still say I forgive you, but I'm never trusting you ever again. You just do your thing, and I'm never going to trust you. But so
Yeah.
often we like to meld everything together. No, you're supposed to, you know,
Yeah.
and you're just opening yourself up, and it's not really
Mm-mm.
too
Yeah,
healthy.
forgiving just seemed like giving him a pass, and I wasn't in any way inclined to do that.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
was no scenario where he was right doing what he did, where he had any right to
yeah,
come into my home after making up a story in his sick, twisted head,
Yeah.
and do that to me, to our mother. There's no scenario where there's any nth of anything right in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's, I think there's a lot of people who's, and I don't think that's necessarily healthy, of saying, no, you just need to, like how can I not work through it, honestly?
You know, I had one of my former church people, the one that I was in for 10 years that I've talked about, was telling me, like, as it was being discussed on social media, because I wanted to get out ahead of the story, you know, because I knew what lies he was going to make up. I'd been around that block. I knew exactly what they were going to look like. I didn't have the exact penciled in details, but I knew exactly what they were going to look like. And she was saying, you know, you have to forgive. And I said, you know what? If you want to forgive the man, feel free. Go right on ahead. I'm not participating.
Yeah.
You know, and then they went on to preach and all this stuff. And I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
I love you, but no. You know, and I know that this, it's for us. It's not them. When we forgive, we set ourselves free from what they did to us. It doesn't mean we have to have a relationship with the person. Yeah, I get it. But it's at the same time, if you're not able to, you're not able to until you're able to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless you're able to, even.
Yeah. Now
You can't make it up. You cannot make it happen. You cannot make forgiveness happen within yourself.
Yeah.
It's not, I've never found it to be possible.
Yeah. And the thing is you can work on it to where it doesn't ruin your life from this point forward, because that person does not deserve that. But still, you know, if you want to go flip off his gravesite, I support you in that, you know, because people who do that kind of thing, they take from you, and you're never going to get that time back.
Nope. And you know, and I never get the part of myself back that was before that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get to ever be the same ever again. You know, and that's even deeper than the time that it took.
Yeah.
You know?
And just turning around and saying, okay, I need to have this cloudy view of, like, forgiveness is me acting like it never happened, inviting this person back and putting myself through more abuse, and then, like, I can't do that, and then feeling guilty about that. You know, you're just beating yourself up more at that point, and worse than you already feel. And so, yeah, it was really interesting to hear, because I'm not used to thinking in those terms. So it's like, you know what, this makes sense. You know, and I'm trying. You know, I'm trying to get over it, and this and that, and it certainly was never physical. At least, you know, with my parents, but what so it wasn't the same thing, but yeah, I'm still working on it.
Right on.
And I think I probably always will be.
Yeah.
It's just trying to recognize that I'm not getting that time back. Just, okay, deal with it. You know, I'm not getting it back. I'm going to try to start today and see what happens.
Yeah. Perfectly valid, Shannon. Yep. I hear you. I 100% hear you. Need to work on self-care. Well, yeah, which is far more important than anything else. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Ben. Yeah. You know, in one of the comments was, it's hardest to forgive ourselves. We are hardest on ourselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, and we are dutiful little pack mules to whatever whatever trip somebody puts on us that makes us feel like we're less than, or feel that we're a bad person, or feel in any way bad about ourselves.
Yeah.
We dutifully keep flogging ourselves.
Yeah, and that's all.
We have like that's some kind of obligation that we hold to pieces of shit.
Yeah, and is it any wonder why people who go through that tend to be, in Tommy's group, for relying upon chemicals because obviously life isn't working.
Right.
So, or
Yeah.
colds and things like that.
Yeah.
Life isn't so easy that we can get through it, which is the reason why nobody wants to be a drug addict. Of course, that's an overused cliche, but
Yeah. Yeah. That's not what anybody as a kid says they want to be when they grow up.
yeah.
Just in there. You won't find it.
Do you find animal therapy, or not therapy, but having animals that helps?
I think it has.
Mm.
They show you a lot about life.
Mm.
And a lot of things about yourself that you may not have picked up on any other way,
Mm.
and you find out what you're capable of.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never would have thought I would have been capable of managing all this, but you work with them.
Yeah. And it's interesting how therapeutic even just watching even chickens can be. It's kind of fun. They're kind of fun to watch. Just
They were
doing
very
their
fun to
thing.
watch.
They scratch the ground looking for bugs, and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm hoping they're getting some of those ticks right now.
Num nums.
My dogs are the best thing in my life. I hear that. Yeah. They are pretty great.
Dogs are some of my favorite people.
Yeah. For real. Yeah. Our fur babies.
How your dogs doing now?
Oh, they've calmed down, I think. I think having the little puppies around kind of wound Petey up, but he also got a taste of his own medicine. And how he used to be with Edie. Well, and I still have to kind of get on to him for, being a little too rough with her.
Mm. How's her hip doing?
She is walking pretty much normally. I'm sure she still deals with some pain.
Mm.
That's not an easy injury to come back from. But yeah, she's walking so much better. She's even able to run. So,
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't even have to use the cone of shame on her.
No, poor thing. Yeah. Well, when I had Petey fixed and I brought home a cone of shame for him, that first night he had that thing destroyed within minutes. Minutes, just in shreds. So not only did he get it off of himself, but he just went to town on that thing. Let's see about this question here, Rolling Stone. I heard at the end of yesterday's live that you set the problem donkey to garden the chickens. Well, it's just so happens that he's on the side where the chickens mostly are, and I have not lost nearly as many chickens as I was losing before, and I credit him with that. He runs across that field braying. Nobody wants any of that. Nobody. There isn't a living thing on this planet that wants any of that. Oh, let's see. I miss having pets. I wish I could have lots. Yeah. It would probably do me some good in life to maybe have a little less at this stage, but it is what it is until I figure out how best to make that happen. It is what it is. Yeah.
You guys are an interesting pair to be running a farm, though, I must admit. You being a
Yeah.
sci-fi freak and Steve being in the nuclear nuclear cooling towers and
You want to
uh,
talk about a sci-fi freak? He watches Star Trek fan films. We're talking the lowest of the low budget, can't act their way out of a sliver of a paper bag. I mean, he'll sit there and watch the whole thing. It's pretty remarkable. I mean, he's hardcore.
it's just something you don't think much when you think of a farmer. That's not the first image that pops in your head. I mean, I know it's a stereotype.
Wasn't what I was ever going to be again. I couldn't get off of that farm fast enough when I was a kid. And when I got out of my hometown, I burned rubber out of there, man. I got out as fast as I possibly could. But it wasn't until I knew I could stand on my own 2 feet because I didn't want to come back.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm. Hey, Gypsy Daisy. I love that about Steve. I do too. Yeah, he watches all kinds of things that I'm like, you make me scratch my head. I wouldn't have him any other way. He's just one of a kind. Feet don't fail me now. Yeah, but he knows a lot of things about a lot of things, and it's kind of scary once he gets going. Like he can
Yeah.
tell you just about every fighter plane that's ever been, whether we made it or whether another country made it. And he's been into that. He's just been into the most interesting things since he was a kid.
Mm.
He got in trouble one time because he wanted to do his book report on a book about airplanes, and his mother kind of went to bat for him. If you'd have let him do that, he would have told you everything he would have been able to tell you everything there was to know about that. You would have been the most incredible report you could ever read, but nope, it had to be some kind of, story that he wasn't interested in. And, that's the whole thing about the education system. It just doesn't take into account what is going to help people grow.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
And come into their own.
Yeah,
And that's a shame.
Yeah, and it's amazing that even still now they don't do really basic things like understanding some kids learn different. Without you're not even getting into like ADHD and some of the neurodivergent stuff. I mean, even just simple things like, no, you have to act this way. You have to, they set you down, you conform and this and that. Now, maybe it can be argued that maybe that's healthy, but because later on in life, you have to in, corporate world, but not everybody's going to go into a corporate thing, in a farm, you don't have to. And what about making kids interested in learning? They're kind of blank slates, and
there's so much potential that's wasted, and we can so easily carry that on with our own lives once we get out of it, because it's what we learned. A lot of wasted potential there.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not till much later that you work through the role that's set through you. It's like, you know what? I'm going to start looking at this. I'm going to watch my sci-fi. I'm going to read my about my fighter planes. I'm going to do this and that. But yeah, how did how do you think the looking at the eclipse, was that helpful to you?
You know what? It may have been. It may have been. It was just amazing. I mean, I didn't have to have you didn't have to have glasses to look at it when it was in totality.
Hmm.
Oh, it was the most magical thing. I don't even remember the one in 2017, and we were in totality, and that was really magical. And that
Hmm.
was, that was still when I had that ability to feel things magical, that I feel like in to some degree I've lost, to some
Hmm.
measure.
Yeah.
But it may have even been more impressive than the one in 2017.
So how are you doing now? You think you're getting any of that back? How's your
Maybe
recovery?
maybe I'm starting to.
That's good.
I don't, it's hard to say at this stage of the
Hmm.
game. I don't know if I'm at an age where you get it back,
That's true.
you know, or, even if it would have happened when I was younger, if I would have been able to get a lot of it back. I don't know.
Hmm.
I wish I understood it more, because maybe if I understood it, I could overcome it better.
Well, your necklace reminds me a lot of those. You used to have the candy necklaces when you were little kids. All the the candies on
Yeah,
it.
it's glass beads and some of it's gemstone and I think my husband gave me this. I
Hmm.
think he saw it somewhere and decided that I needed this. So
It is interesting how we get back some of the things you don't necessarily expect. I find something I would never thought about as a kid. I really love color. I love seeing color on people. And it really struck me, was it yesterday or day before? I was watching some gal walk by in a skirt. And, of course, when you're your teens and 20s, you're thinking one thing. This, I watched her walk by and I thought, wow, what a nice color combination. Oh, that's perfect. And I thought, oh, wow, I might, I don't know
love
what that is,
that.
but yeah, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun
I
when you,
love that. Blast from the past, candy necklaces. I used to love those. You'd sit there and just gnaw on your necklace. It was pretty great. I wonder if they even still make those.
hmm,
So what else is new?
that was one of the things I was thinking.
That's
There's, hon-
amazing.
there's honestly not a whole lot going on in my life.
Thank you. Thank you, Rolling Stone.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh, I've still got to figure out a way to get to Mississippi. I did actually talk to the person that does the work for the cemetery where my mom and dad are buried. It's an 8-hour drive to Mississippi,
Hmm.
and he's there every other weekend, and he's who's going to have to put it in for me. And so I am hoping. So this past weekend he was going to be there. So this coming weekend he won't be. It'll be the weekend after next.
Hmm.
And I'm really trying to figure out if we can make it happen.
Hmm.
Who knows? Maybe even anyway. It's an 8-hour drive there, an 8-hour drive back, and I've been trying to formulate in my mind how we can make it happen.
Well, how far did you drive for the eclipse? How many hours was that?
Oh, a couple hours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They live a little over 2 hours away. It took us a little longer to get back because traffic was really backed up.
Mm. Where did you go again for that?
Pettigene Mountain,
Oh, okay.
or Pettigene, I think that's how they say it. They live real near like the main part of the park, and you can just see the river from their backyard,
Mm.
and when it went to totality, there was just this uproarious, like, woo! Everybody cheering. That
Huh.
was pretty cool.
Huh.
It was pretty darn cool. I love it. It's like pulling chicken teeth getting Steve out of the house to go anywhere. So, when I was ready for a vacation, that the last part of my mom's journey here
Mm.
on Earth, I just needed, I get to a space where I'm just like, I have got to get out of here or I will lose my ever living mind.
Mm.
And I had reached that point, and I had been talking to him 2 or 3. Usually, I would have to start. I would feel it coming, and I'd have to start 2 or 3 months, before I was actually going to just land in the thick of it, to have him, right for the time off,
Mm.
and agree to get in the car and go and do all the stuff. And it went past the 3-month mark, and we still weren't going. Another month went by, we still weren't going, and I was getting burnout upon burnout upon burnout.
Mm.
And I told Steve, I said, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. Either you and I are going on the road, and we're going anywhere you want to for as long as you want to, or I'm getting in the car and I'm going on the road for 2 weeks. I don't
Mm.
know which direction I'm headed, and you're just going to have to figure all of this out on your own. Because I had been working on lining people up to help with the farm and help with mom and all that
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
and it was a 24/7,
Mm.
putting pieces of the puzzle together.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so guess what? We went on the road together. It was a weekend. We went to go see his mom, and then the following weekend we went to my second cousins in Tennessee family reunion. I'm actually closer with that family. It's my dad's first cousins.
Mm.
His dad and their mom were sister and brother, and Daddy just really, more so than any of the other siblings, was really close with those Tennessee cousins, and they'd come to see us at least every other year,
Mm.
and sometimes we'd go to see them, and they just made a big impact on my life, and the next generation seems to have followed suit, and
Mm.
just
Wow, that's interesting.
yeah, and I had been to one of the family reunions back in '98, and then we went to that reunion the following weekend after going to see his mom, and yeah, it's pretty good stuff. And and when I got back, I was just like, you know what? I'm good. Let's do this. No more burnout. And then within a few days,
Mm.
Mama was gone. She was doing really well until she wasn't.
Mm.
And
Mm.
then when she wasn't, it was just like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though she was 95, I wasn't ready, because I
Mm.
was I was ready to take it all on again,
Mm.
and and so I feel I have to go through life kind of feeling bad about allowing so much burnout for so long to, color the experience.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's part of recovery. It takes a long time, I suppose. What do you think your biggest challenge is now?
Well, what to do with myself vocationally?
Mm,
I was out of the work game for 12 years.
mm,
It just turned out that it wasn't going to be possible to have a job and look after mom properly.
mm,
And, I tried going back to hairdressing. I had been that in my early to mid 20s. And then, I did a lot of really cool things, a lot of different things job wise, but now I don't know. I don't
yeah.
know where to look. I don't know which way to go,
Mm,
you
yeah.
know, and
That.
it's frustrating. It's wow. I didn't know that was going to hit me hard, but it's, for so long, I mean, I'd been working since I was 16,
Mm,
and now I don't know which way I don't know. How do you get a job even in this today's market? I was at a plant nursery for a few months, and
mm,
I don't know what I can do still, what I can't do. You
mm,
know, I'm gonna look into getting tested for my attention, my because it's gotten worse as I've gotten older. Being
mm,
able to keep my attention where it needs to be,
mm.
and so it all ties in together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to. I do under. I can sympathize because yeah, there's times I think about changing careers, but it's like what? I mean, um, it was one of the things I got into drafting and then GIS is just because couldn't think of anything else I wanted to do when I grew up. So it's like, okay, I'll just do this for a few years until I figure out where I'm going.
Yeah.
And like, wow, I'm going to be set to retire without ever, you know, I can't do the test eating for what do you call it, Taco Bell. That's not a realistic.
Yeah. Yeah, you reach a certain point in life where yeah, things aren't what they were, and you got
Yeah,
to figure out how to work with what you got left.
yeah, yeah. That there was one interesting job I found that I almost got. I still kicked myself in the butt for not trying harder. It was being a product tester for Jeep. It turns out in northern Arizona, not northern, central Arizona, they do destructive testing. And that's the kind of thing where you take a Jeep out and you drive over parking blocks intentionally. And like, wow, that just sounds fun. Just taking something out, beating the crap out of it. That's just sounds therapeutic.
Surely that doesn't involve being a crash dummy too.
Well, yeah, and that's something I sort of think about. So, you probably get back injury and things like that. It's probably got some downside.
Ooh.
Yeah, because you're
Oh
doing stuff.
yeah.
It's like, oh man, there's always a downside.
We're too damn yeah, that's a Rolling Stone. I get it. When we finally get old enough to know exactly what we want, we are too damn old to do it.
Yep.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty messed up design, part of the design.
Yeah.
Surely that's not by design. Come on now, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, that's. I wonder if there's a test online. I mean, they used to have aptitude, not aptitude. What's the thing I'm thinking of? It was kind of like where your skills lie kind of test.
yeah.
And it was one of those that's when I started uh, studying administration of justice, it said you would not be a good cop. Look for anything other than law enforcement. I'm so glad that I didn't become a cop, because there's a lot of scumbags out there. I would be in jail for, like, okay, we're just going to do this the old fashioned way, and, do something that probably land me in jail. And then on the other hand, pull over, the perfect ticket, girl going 150 and a 35. I'd pull her over and, oh, don't give me a ticket. Oh, no, this is going to go the full extent of the law. Oh, please, blink, blink, blink. Okay. I'd be such a jerk. So, yeah, wouldn't be good. But yeah, I halfway wonder if there isn't some kind of test online that, I don't know how you look it up.
I don't know either.
Careers that may interest you or something.
I think I need to kind of do the testing to see if what neurodivergency there may be going on here and what can be done about it, because I've always suspected there's something.
Oh, no.
And I could always work around it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get out of practice, how do you get it back?
Yeah, because you've adapted to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I understand that. My math skills I am so bad now. It's like I was just doing simple. I was doing simple addition, just trying to figure out the bill, and I found myself, okay, 8 plus 6 is, okay. I had to start counting on my fingers. Like, oh my God, amazing what. And the stuff I do here, it's really complex and mathematical, but yeah, you're using a calculator. So, oh well.
Lordy.
Have you ever thought about doing anything in recovery?
No, actually, I really hadn't thought of that.
Just to see
That's something to look into, maybe.
Yeah, with your experience with it, and
right,
and working through it and things, especially working through multiple things. The whole, physical abuse, drugs, and then the cult.
Yeah.
Do you work with people better than numbers, you think?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I always figured you probably would.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting too, because I was so socially awkward as a kid, but I always wanted to be not that, and, so that whole thing of social lubricant drinking was, I thought it was a miracle cure, because I always liked people and I always wanted to be able to, interact and, have that relating to each other thing happening. But when you're just a stupid, awkward kid that's getting made fun of by absolutely everybody, there's no making friends.
Yeah.
So,
and that's something that I found, that most people, generally, the way the school system is, most people feel picked on at some point or another. But yeah, I think you would be. I think you really would be. I mean, you lead this. And sometimes herding our little group is like, I know it can be like herding cats. So there's got to be some application for that.
That is an idea. And that could also be something that I could potentially do from home too, doing Zoom meetings, that kind of thing. I was the awkward kid in school. Yeah. Boy, do I relate. Yeah. But yeah, I could probably pick Tara's brain. I bet she wouldn't mind.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
how she got into it.
Have you talked to Steve much about it? Speaking of brainstorming?
Yeah, I mean, I've talked to him, a good bit about my predicament and where I find myself,
But I mean, have you asked him, what do you think I'd be good at, kind of thing?
No, I hadn't really.
Because he seems pretty perceptive, and he would know you really well.
My mom never wanted to push me in one direction or any other direction. She always just, kind of presented me with what the choices are and let me make the choice. And he seems to be that same way with me. He will not advise me.
Oh, okay.
A
little too open, maybe.
He just supports me, but he won't he won't nudge me in one direction or another, Horse rehabilitation place. Number 2 job, horse rehabilitation place.
That's interesting, Rick.
Yeah. If I was a horse person, that would be ideal. But I'm really not a horse person.
Do you have horses?
We had them when I was a kid. I was scared of them though, and I never really got over that fear. So I'm sure if I were around them and if I was around the right horse, I probably could overcome that. But
you're not too interested in becoming like a donkey whisperer or anything like that?
Well, I swear to you, sometimes I think he understands what I'm saying. Maybe that's all in my head, but I feel like I can have a conversation with him and run stuff by him. I don't know what it is, but there's a very interactive human component there. Like, yeah, whatever, with him, his reaction and the very just appropriately timed, I mean, his timing is just so spot on every time.
You got your own Mr. Ed, huh?
Maybe so. I can see why they thought that was a thing to come up with. You're an animal person. A fear is understandable. They big. Yep, they are big. I'm destined to die behind the wheel. Oh, Rolling Stone. What? I've been kind of trying to follow this conversation. I come here because I never found anyone to talk to before. Okay. Well, thank you, Mayonnaise. Either that or I'm just delusional, which isn't. I've been trying to follow this conversation, but I wasn't putting it up because it seemed like a pretty good little conversation going between you two. It's just out of the question. Last few days feels like it's coming full circle. And you know what? I think I feel happy right now for the first time in a really long time.
That's good to hear.
Wow, a Rolling Stone. I love to know that. I love to hear that.
Yeah.
That is so good. Oh, I love that. I love that. And surely you're not. No, it's all good. Oh, well, it's been about an hour and a half. What do you think? Do you think we've had a meeting?
I think so. Thank you for letting me pick your brain. That was kind of interesting.
Well, thank you for picking my brain. I appreciate it. Sometimes if you get the right question going, you can kind of get on the right journey. If you get your mind working in a different way than than the way it was being stuck.
Well,
Does that
yeah,
make
yeah,
sense?
yeah. It's we all get stuck easily in our own heads, and we just replay the same thing over and over again.
Welcome, Butterfly 31. Glad to see you. Welcome to Needing a Meeting. How about you guys in the chat? You guys good? You feel like we've had a meeting? I'm glad we're together too, Henny. Yeah.
I gotta say though, I'm really happy with how easily Spank seems to be. He's just
It's
kind of
magical, isn't
he's.
it?
I like the way he's trying to. You could say that he's testing the waters with different things. Like, okay,
Yeah.
we'll try sliding into this.
Yeah.
And I like that Tommy, from what he says that Tommy just seems to be completely changed person. I had no idea that Tommy was putting up with that. He was getting drugged down like that, but I guess it makes sense.
He's mentioned enough that he didn't tell his story for him, I noticed, but he had mentioned enough that I knew that there was something up there. And yeah,
Yeah,
I can relate his with his drug of choice. That was
Hmm.
always going to be my drug of choice.
Really?
Booze. Yeah. I only did other drugs because they were around.
Hmm.
I sought out alcohol,
Hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I drank quite a bit, but I guess I'm one of the lucky ones who. Oh, I'm so picking on Tommy about that.
Spanx is awesome. A Rolling Stone. I'm feeling his captaincy, but I don't think we're going to be allowed to call him Fabio, darn it. Oh my gosh, you guys. I love it. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, it's just that was such a seamless thing, it feels like, don't you?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
like they were both born to do this.
yeah, and I like that Tommy's still around here and there, or at
Yeah.
least he sounds like he's planning to. So that
Yeah.
allows him to. It takes the pressure off him, but then allows him to still.
Yeah.
Yeah, he talked about how much enjoyment he gets out of it, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's just it's a big shame that there were so many, and he takes that stuff really seriously, which is
Yeah.
going to bring him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, I don't understand where somebody thinks that they have that they're not willing to start a channel themselves, but they're willing to tell somebody else how to do their channel,
yeah,
which has everything to do with how they do life and how they do art and how they do things.
yeah,
And of course you're going to take that personally.
yeah. Yeah, kind of like Dr. Spock telling everybody how to raise kids when he didn't have any. At least at the time of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
It took me a long time to realize Dr. Spock was an actual person. I kept thinking they gave Spock on Star Trek an honorary doctorate, and then he was running around, advising people. It's like Leonard Nimoy, he wouldn't do that.
That was confusing to me as a kid too. Very confusing. I'm like, Dr. Spock, what? Yeah.
Oh well. But
Well,
I yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with the boat. Um,
I am too. Good
Tom and
stuff.
Spanx has a good voice for it, nice and
Mm-hmm.
calming.
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems to be a little more laid back, but that's good.
Yeah. Very good. Yeah. I love the dynamic, changes, but they work. and they work with each other very, very, very well. I'm excited. I know Tommy's excited. I know he was so proud last night. First time in the captain's chair. So good.
But him and his brother are extroverts. I mean, he may not think he is, but he is.
I would so let Spock raise my kids. Yeah, I would too.
Give him a good Vulcan nerve pinch and misbehaving.
That nerve pinch would come in handy, I would imagine.
Yeah, Henny, that is so true. And it's amazing to me that how people in a negative mindset, and you'll find this really common, people in depression, you can say 99 things that are positive about them, one thing that's negative. They have a natural ability to discount the 99 and they'll focus.
Yes. Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, and that's just where you go when you're depressed.
Yeah.
Or
when you've been since spinning.
Yeah. You get a negative interpretation of things that are neither positive or negative. They just are, like, get a flat tire. Well, somebody didn't say hi to you, you instantly think this person hates me. And you put much more weight on negative things and you completely discount positive things. And it's that negative self-talk that we often get.
Yeah, and it seems to be what we gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And I don't understand that.
Yeah. That was one thing that the boat was really interesting for me, because even going through some of the stuff with neuroscience, I started learning, okay, everybody wears a mask. Everybody's, a product of childhood trauma and reward. Okay. I get that. But it's like, wow, everybody else is as effed up as I am. I don't believe that. Wow.
There certainly is a lot of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tommy's given so much more than he'll ever realize. I think so. Yeah.
I do hope you have yourself a most awesome day. And
I hope you do too, Ben.
I hope that you're able to.
It's been great talking with you.
It's been great talking to you. I would like to thank you for letting me like it again. Let me come in here and pick at your brain. And
I appreciate you very much.
Thank
you for doing that, because there's a couple of ideas there that I may look into.
Well, you take care and stay hi to Steve, even though he probably doesn't realize who I am. But
I will certainly.
Don't you know who I am, Mister? That worked really well for. Who was the guy who was arrested in Phoenix for drunk driving? Not Wayne Newton. Come on. By the time I get to Phoenix is one of his songs. Oh well. I'll think of it at like 2
Glenn Campbell?
Was it Glenn Campbell?
Didn't he do that song?
I think he did. Maybe I misidentified. I just remember it was somebody like him. It was either him or somebody like him, where there's a drunk picture of him where he's, the mug shot where he looks absolutely horrible. And that was one of the things he told the cops was, don't you know who I am? It's like, oh, they love that. Wow. That's really great there. It's, that's better than asking the cop, hey son, is your head up your butt for the warmth? It's probably not going to go over too well. But you have a great day.
You too, Ben. Good seeing you.
Good seeing you.
You guys, I love you guys. You guys are just phenomenally awesome. And that's a thing. You're a great friend, Ben. Have a great night. Yes, you are, Ben. Wherever you are right now. Anyway, thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Honestly, you guys have no idea how much you've helped me. You know, today and all along this journey. Thank you so much for being who you are, being great, and being part of this community and making it what it is. Because it's not anything without you guys. So I appreciate you and love you and hope to see you again next meeting. And until then, peace, y'all.